You know, manifesting is creating your life. We are all creating our lives. It's a conscious creation versus an unconscious creation. Manifesting is creating with intention. So you get the things that you want, not the things that you don't want. And it requires an awakening. So I started to cherry pick a lot of the information, and I did a lot of experimentation in order to create a system that I could use that would be foolproof, that would be whole and complete and need absolutely nothing, and that was step by step, so that all the pitfalls and all the things that could go wrong was covered. So I created this system, and I worked that system, and I experimented with it for 5 years. I applied it for 1 year, logged all the results. Then I thought, well, yes, I did accomplish everything. But hey, maybe it's a fluke. Maybe I just got lucky this year. So I tried it without using the system. And I did this 5 times, and I found that each time I applied the system, I achieved anywhere from 90 to 100% of what I wanted to achieve within that 12 months. And I played big. So I was not playing small. Any wildly conceived idea about what I wanted to accomplish, I put that down. I was not afraid to reach for the stars. So that's really what manifesting means to me. That's a little bit about how I came to understand it. I had this system. I had no intention of sharing it with the public. This was for me to achieve my goals, and I did. And I used it for 10 years before I actually started sharing it with the public. And how that happened was I took a little bit of time off. I was spending more time with friends. They were telling me about their struggles in life. And being an empath, you know, being an intuitive person, I couldn't help but want to help them, share with them what I had that helped me, and it made all the difference. And it just blew up. It caught on like wildfire. People were reaching out to me because the word of mouth got so big, and I just thought, okay, I guess I'm called into doing this, and I love helping people. I always have. I'll just ride this wave and see where it takes me. And here I am, you know, 10 years later, having worked with the public all over the world. And I really love this career, or this purpose that I'm fulfilling, more than all the other dreams that I fulfilled, which were very exciting and very wonderful and very incredible and all of that. But this giving to people, helping them, is like my success is their success. And that's what I've been able to achieve with all my clients. So I love my life, love my work.
Are you going to share that with us, or that's in a book or in a seminar? How are we going to know how to manifest? We would like to be happy too. We'd like to manifest and fulfill our dreams too.
Absolutely. Yes, I want this system to be available to the whole world because it works so well, and it works for everyone who has worked it as it's been designed. So I work with people one-on-one, in groups. I've worked with corporations and businesses like Google and the Lifetime Channel and Hilton and Hyatt Hotels. So I work with businesses, I work one-on-one with people. And so I do this, like I said, either group settings, one-on-one, or video series, or also I have the book. So I wanted to make sure that there was no one left out having to have access to this information. And that's why I covered all those grounds. So the book is the AOM System Manifestation Mastery in 30 Days, and it's on Amazon all over the world. That's how you have access to it. And the beautiful thing is that through experimenting with this, you actually discover how easy it is to be happy and successful. You actually discover that you are the one making it complicated, that it's not. All I have to do is just follow these steps. We've been hardwired to believe that these things, happiness and success, great health, are elusive. Like we have to be under stress. Like we have to always feel like our dreams are just so close, but yet so far, and difficult, hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. You have to make sacrifice. This is all bogus. This is all untrue. I mean, it is easy to have extraordinary relationships with anybody in your life, anyone that's important. And guess what? You don't have to rely on them to change. If you apply these tools or these steps, this knowledge, it's true. Everything changes around you. All you have to do is work with this. So there's this misconception that that needs to change and this needs to change and that circumstance and that person in order for my life to change. This is so untrue. It's also very disempowering to believe that, because then you're at the mercy of everything. You have no power. You have no say in the matter. But when you realize that you have everything within you and you are not limited and you have all the resources and you have this knowledge and the tools to apply, you have access to all of this. It's really, really easy and it's fun. The journey is fun. The journey is so rewarding, it's not even about the destination anymore, even though that's there too.
I am intrigued, and probably my viewers who is watching are intrigued. What is that secret? But we have to read the book probably.
I'm happy to tell you it's really 4 steps.
Okay.
In order to help you get those 4 steps implemented into your life, yeah, it's going to take more than just this interview. But I will explain what the process is. It's 4 parts to the AOM system. But the most important thing, before you can crystallize ideas about your dreams and hopes and what it is that you want to manifest, before you can have access to doing so, before you can get out of your own way and allow it to just happen, you've got to make peace with your past. You've got to make peace with your past. I don't care how traumatic it was or what happened to you. You've got to make peace with your past. Because think of it like you're removing all the roadblocks. And think of these charges, this negative energy. Think of it like roadblocks in the road. You've got this stack of roadblocks and you're trying to drive and get someplace. You're not going to go anywhere if these blocks don't get removed. And it's that simple. And a lot of people say, well, that's very hard, but it's not.
Okay. I'll ask you, are you doing this for money or for legacy, or it's a higher calling for you?
Oh, well, all of it, it's a higher calling for me for sure. I'm super clear about that. And I'm clear about how everything that came before that was preparing me and setting me up and providing for me to be where I am now to fulfill this calling. Through the mediums of art that I engaged in. So it's always been there, part of my life, if you will. But now I just feel like this is more of a direct route to helping people. This is much more direct, more effective, more powerful, more long-lasting than the way that I was trying to touch, move, and inspire and positively impact people through my art. So yeah, this is definitely a higher calling. And of course, when people work with me one-on-one, I charge for that because I have to be available and I have to be able to eat food so I can be on the planet to teach people this work, But it's not my priority. It's just part of being human and being on this planet, that there's a monetary element to it. But see, that's why I also created the book. Because if someone, wants to still do this work and maybe they're unemployed, or maybe, they're really, really struggling, there is the book. And the book is my gift to the public. I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but when you're self-published, you're only making $5 or less on each book. So this is really a gift. Plus, it cost me tens and thousands to write the book in itself, because I worked with an editor. So it cost me a lot of money. So I do feel like this is a gift, and I'm very altruistic about my work, because that is the number one thing, the number one priority for me, is like giving people their lives and making their dreams come true. And it's so easy. So why don't we all do it?
Yeah, well, you live in Los Angeles, and lifestyle is very expensive over there, so you have to pay your bills. If you don't, I know, I've been there.
Well, it's expensive everywhere, though, so we're finding out, isn't it?
Yeah, if you don't mind me asking you, how much you charge for your services?
It depends on the package. I work with people for as little as 2 weeks, up to like 3 months, and then from there, we tailor make any additional coaching. So when I work with somebody for like 2 weeks, this is kind of like a starter. I would recommend that they read the book, and then I'm there to help them for 2 weeks to make sure everything's running smoothly. When I work with somebody for 3 months, that transition to living an extraordinary life in all areas of your life is very solidified. It's like if you hired a personal trainer and you worked with them for a couple of weeks, or you worked with them for 3 months. It's different, because it's just that these new elements and these new habits have been more firmly ingrained, if you will. But you got to remember, I'm a participant too. And, I didn't have a coach. And I used this this method, this system, just like anybody else would. Yes, coaching is awesome. I'd love to have had a coach. But what I'm saying is, it's not impossible if you don't have one, because I'm living proof of that. And I am probably the most difficult client I've ever had. Me coaching me, But there's something to be said about this work, and it's so worthwhile. Why wouldn't you want to invest in this work when everything in your life, all your experiences, all your outcomes originate from it? It's a foundation. Everything that happens in your life is coming from a foundation, and it's one that you either consciously or unconsciously build. So everything in your life depends on it. So why wouldn't you want to master the manifestation process if everything depends on it? And it's true. We are creators. We're here to create an experience. So that's all we're doing. Think about it for a second, Sergei. You are creating, and you're experiencing what you created. It could be a thought. It could be a meal. It could be exercise. It could be sleeping. It could be a conversation. It could be a work of art. List goes on. There is nothing that doesn't involve about us creating and experiencing what we created. And that's all there is here. We are the great creators here. You look around, everything around us has been created. And it's a beautiful thing, but the problem only occurs when we do not own that creatorship, which leaves us powerless. But when we own it, then we can do anything. Then sometimes we have to go, oh my God, I have to own that I created that. I don't want to own that. But the beautiful thing is, if you do just own that, then you got your power back, and then you can create anything. Well, if I created that which I didn't want, how about if I create what I do want? But I can't think of anything that's more important than that. And it makes you wonder, why is this such a secret in the world? Why is this kept from us? which reminds me of the Secret, the Rhonda Byrne video where she was talking about all these great people knew about this, but nobody else did. And, well, it's very true. It's very true. I am a lover of autobiographies, and I read about extraordinary lives, extraordinary people. And the one common denominator, as different as they all are, is they all know how to manifest. And some of them even talk about this at great lengths in their book about manifesting. They're not special. They don't have more talent, intelligence, resources than anybody else in the world. They are human. You're human. I'm human. Everyone's human. And that's the only prerequisite for creating magic and miracles in your life.
Okay, Sterling, I'm going to ask you. My question is this. Do you think you were lucky in your life?
No. Mm-mm. I had a lot of trauma. A lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles, a lot of life lessons. It was by far easy. I mean, I could probably think about it was all a process of learning, but it's through this work that, let me put it this way. Everything that I'm grateful for, everything that is incredible about my life came from applying the AOM system in my life. When I did not apply that, my life was nothing but frustration and disappointment. So there are two distinct differences. One was heaven, one was hell. What's the difference? I used the AOM system for heaven, and I used what this world taught me, if you will, and what's been ingrained in me to produce the hell that I was living. So this is a 22-year-old system. So I've been doing it a long time. But it's responsible for all the happiness. And oh my God, the stories I could tell you. There is just no limit. It really is magic.
Yeah, that's another book over there you have to write, a bestseller about your life. Every person you see on the street it's a book that has to be written, but
it's interesting you should say that, because I always say, here's proof that you are the sole creator of your life. If every single person wrote an autobiography, every single one of them would be unique and different.
All right. Now, we talked about the higher calling. How do you feel that you got that higher calling? Do you hear that from God? Do you see some visions?
I believe it's something that I was always aware of. I think a lot of it comes from being intuitive and an empath. When you're an empath, you feel what others are going through as if you are. That could be, for better or for worse. So being an empath, most of us want to help. We want to make that pain or suffering go away and replace it with joy and happiness and health. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Because you're an empath, you also experience their triumphs and their peace and their happiness. It's a shared experience. That in itself is an impetus to want to help people, because you're experiencing, what they're experiencing, and you want to make a difference. Of course, everybody wants to be happy. Nobody wants to suffer, not even hardened criminals. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Also, I believe that having this predisposition, this attraction, this desire to understand how life truly works is something that's been with me my whole life. So my interest to want to understand this for myself and then share it with others, I mean, all of that goes hand in hand as well. So I think those are the reasons why I have this calling. Pretty much sums it up with those two things, desire and interest, thirst for knowledge and truth, and then wanting to help people because of being an empath.
So you just mentioned that you had to go through a lot of hardship in your life. Why do you think the suffering is given to people?
I love this question. I really do. It's so hard to see what the purpose of suffering is on the surface, because it seems absolutely nonsensical. It seems so a detriment to our lives. But the truth is, suffering is our greatest gift. You know, I dedicated my book to all of those who had trespassed in my life, did me wrong, whatever, right? And if it wasn't for them, all the great aspects of myself, the challenges I overcome, creating the AOM system, fulfilling all my dreams, I couldn't have done any of that without these challenges, without the sufferings. And when you think about suffering, doesn't it usually involve other things or people? You know, it's like you don't just find yourself sitting on a rock on an island suffering. There's got to be something else connected to it. So it's those people, right? It's like, oh, I'm being challenged. I have to go give a presentation. I'm so scared. I think I'm going to jump out of my skin. I'm suffering. I'm anxious. I'm upset. But the only reason why you feel that way is because something happened. It was probably someone who then created that idea that turned into a belief that you're not good enough. So that's what I mean by people who've come into our lives that has helped shape and mold that which is inauthentic in our lives, that which is disempowering beliefs in our lives. When you transform that and overcome it, it's like a rebirth. It's the empowerment that you receive, the experience that you have from that is like opening up a whole new world. And you can't do it without those challenges that bring about suffering. Suffering is that great wake-up call.
Yeah. Yeah, you start to ask questions when you suffer. Why? Why me?
Yes, you do. You start to ask those questions. You start to probe. You start to ask those bigger life questions. But when everything's going great, your biggest questions are, what's for dinner? What am I going to wear today?
Okay, my next question is this. What is the most profound change in your life that influenced you?
I think one of the most recent was when I really understood how we live in a limitless world. When I really got that on an experiential level, this was many years ago, but it was huge. It was a pivotal change, because when I realized that I am limitless, this world is limitless, we are living in true abundance. And when I really got that, everything opened up, everything rushed in. And it was like the doors were open. And I never looked back. I was changed forever when I got that. And it was through this work. It's through like the system that I got that. When you have a breakthrough with this work, it changes you forever. You're never the same because you're producing different results than you have before. So you believe something different based on the proof you just produced. You never go back to the disempowering beliefs because you have evidence saying otherwise. And you don't forget these tremendous breakthroughs in your life. They stay with you more than anything else because they're based in truth. So when I got that, it was like, it was just like this limitless paradise I found myself on, and I started experiencing that. And creating was just limitless. I was playing big. I would like come up with the wildest things. Let's see if I could create this. And I did. So that was a very big change in my life, for sure. Changed the way I live forever.
Okay. And what would you do different if you were 20 years old again?
What would I do differently? I have to say, nothing. Honestly, nothing. Because when I look back, as confusing as it might have been at times, the 2020 is hindsight. I look back and I go, really, nothing I would change. I don't regret a thing. Everything was divinely in purpose. I was on track when I didn't even know I was on track. I was struggling for my greater good. I was suffering to learn something. Those difficulties or those challenges were only there to serve me and help me, the biggest blessings and gifts. So what could I possibly regret? It's been nothing but a wonderful ride. It's been nothing but incredible ride, and I'm deeply satisfied for it. But I think when you do this work, you also get a clarity and a truth where you're able to see those things. And life makes sense. It truly makes sense. When you're connected to the truth, everything solidifies, grounds, clarifies, and you just know it's the truth.
What do you mean by connected to the truth?
What the truth in life is. And this is a really interesting, Sergei, this is really interesting. You should bring this up too, because it's a little bit of a conversation, but I'll keep it short. The truth, on one hand, everything is true and nothing is true. Everything is true and nothing is true. Because we are the creators of our lives, we're going to create an experience and an outcome, and that's going to look like the truth. But it only appears to be the truth because we created it. Somebody else could create something and go, oh, I oppose your truth. Look at my evidence. Look at this. It's all because they created it to be so. So really there is no truth. But it is true because you experienced it and you had this outcome. That's what I mean by that. Life is a paradox. These two opposites coexist at the same time. So really the closest thing that we can get to what is the truth is that which is authentic versus inauthentic. What is authentic is based and rooted in love, which is creativity. And what is inauthentic is fear, which is the opposite of creativity. It's like destruction. All right. So that's the closest thing that we can get to truth, that which is authentic or inauthentic, fear-based or love-based. And what does this mean? This means who we're being is going to be sourced from one or the other. Who we truly are is authentic. We are love. We are creativity. We're meant to flourish. We're meant to expand. We're meant to fulfill a purpose. We're meant to make a difference. We're meant to engage. We're meant to experience life. And you can only do those things if you're sourcing yourself from love. You can't do it sourced from fear. You'll be hiding under a rock. You're not going to be experiencing life or living fully, because fear is what completely traps us and keeps us from living fully. So that's the closest thing that we can get to truth. If you're being peaceful, this is all your choice, by the way. Choose to be peaceful, accepting, loving, cheerful, caring, generous, abundant, helpful, whatever. The list goes on and on. The common thing here, excited. The common thing here is love is present in all those ways of being. But if you're being cynical, angry, depressed, unmotivated, and the list goes on, the common denominator in those is fear. Fear is present in all of that. Fear, fear, fear. Yeah, so that's the two differences. And who we're being is going to dictate what we do, what we create, what we experience, what our results are in life. It all starts with who we're being. We be a certain way. We're going to do something and we're going to have a result. So it's always about who we're being.
All right. Speaking of fear, are you afraid of death?
No, no, no. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm really not. And if you could say you're not afraid of death, then you're pretty much not afraid of anything. Oh, absolutely not. When you're living in an authentic place, it's natural not to be afraid of death. Because fear is gone. You can only be afraid of death if you're fear-based. If your life is being driven by fear and you're being inauthentic, just rooted in fear. Fearless, at peace, happy, joyful, abundant, have so much to give. That's what it is to be fearless.
Okay, now, if people want to find more about you, about your work, about your book, AOM, can you share that here if you like?
Sure. The book, again, is called The AOM System Manifestation Mastery in 30 Days, available on Amazon and all over the world, and as well as Barnes & Noble. My website, getyourlifenow.com. You can go there. You can arrange for a complimentary consultation to find out more about how I work or what you can expect from using the system. I'm here to help. I'm here to clarify. And if you want to work personally with me, that's something that we can talk about as well. I think it's so important to get your questions answered. I think there's so much confusion when it comes to working with people. I know I've experienced that. So that's why I offer a half an hour free consultation, so you're clear about how I work, what you can expect, what this is all about. My clients offer their phone numbers and names to any potential people who want to work with me. That's how enthusiastic they are about this work.
You said you're not afraid of anything. I admire that. Are you afraid of spiders?
It's funny you should say that, because I am not afraid of spiders, and yet when I get a spider bite, I'm like, oh no, these are the ones that take, they're horrible looking, they're like red, and they take forever to go away. I'm not afraid of spiders, but I'm not a fan of rats.
That was my next question. Are you afraid of rats and mice?
Yeah, well, yeah, not crazy about them. It's not something I really want to awfully.
Well, now this is interesting here. You're not afraid of death, but you are afraid of rat. What is a rat?
I'm really not afraid of them. It's just that they're quick and they're quick. And so that kind of startles me. It's like, whoa, did I just see something? Whoa, it's the fact that they're so quick and that they startle me that kind of makes me on edge.
Okay, now another question here about my show. What's your definition of freedom?
Oh, boy, I so love that question, Sergei, because freedom is all here. Freedom is here. Freedom is here. Freedom, liberation. One of the ways of being that I love to experience is being carefree. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, I remember that when I was a kid, I was carefree. It's like, why not now? Free, liberated. Yes. This is empowerment. This is power. This is when you are in a state of freedom. Everything is possible. Everything's accessible. To be free at all times is not only super easy, but really critical to living a happy and abundant life. I love the word freedom because I experience it every day and I'm constantly aware of practicing it. Thank you for calling your show about freedom.
Well, now you said you experience freedom every day. How do you experience this freedom?
I experience this freedom because I keep, AOM part 1 where all of those constraints and limitations reside, all those blocks. I keep that clear. When you're clear of those disempowering beliefs, you can access freedom by simply connecting to it because you have no obstruction. So how do you do it? Yeah, how do I do it? I go, okay, I'm being free, or I'm being carefree, or I'm being free. Okay, so I just take a moment and I go, what is it like to really feel free? And then, I close my eyes for a moment and I just get in touch with that. And I might notice, like, oh, I feel relaxed. Oh, what is it to be free? I feel expansive. I feel empowered. I feel peaceful. I feel like, and the list can go on and on. That's, how I'm verbalizing how I feel or generate the energy of freedom. All you really have to do is ask yourself, how does it really feel to be free? What is freedom? So it might come up like that. You might notice these feelings or changes or the shift that occurs within you.
All right. Sterling, thank you very much for the interview. Unless you have something else to say for my viewers, like a great message to help them in their lives, these difficult times we live right now.
Thank you so much, Sergei, for having me here. It's been an honor, a privilege, a pleasure. I am so very grateful. And I just want to say, do not ever give up. Do not lose hope. Do not give up. I promise you the answers are there. And they are so available. And it's true, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.